You stand at the crossroads of pain and understanding. She has left wounds upon your soul, and yet she returns. You ask yourself, why? Is it regret? Is it love? Or is it merely convenience? But the answer matters less than your response. The world does not revolve around her choices, nor should your mind be enslaved by the whims of another. A strong man does not ask why the storm returns. He fortifies himself so that its winds no longer shake him. Perhaps she seeks redemption, or perhaps she seeks comfort in the one she once wounded. But know this: if she hurt you once, she has revealed her nature. If she returns, it is not your duty to embrace her, but to judge with wisdom whether her presence adds to your peace or disturbs it. You were not born to be an anchor for another's indecision, nor to be a refuge for their moments of loneliness. You were born to be resolute, to master your mind, to remain unshaken. Let her return, but do not let her disrupt the fortress you have built. Welcome or deny her as you see fit, but do so with reason, not with the remnants of past emotions. For the man who governs himself is not swayed by the comings and goings of others. He stands firm as a mountain unmoved by the tide. She hurt you, but that does not mean she holds power over you. Pain is not proof of her importance. It is only proof of your own ability to feel deeply. Many mistake suffering for a sign that another person is irreplaceable, but this is a deception of the mind. She wounded you, and now she returns. Does that make her the author of your fate? No, it only means she has come back. But whether she stays or affects you further is entirely within your hands. To give her authority over your emotions is to surrender the very thing that makes you strong, your ability to govern yourself. If you allow her return to dictate your happiness or your suffering, you have already lost the battle before it begins. No one should hold dominion over your heart except you. If she had the power to hurt you before, it was because you allowed her close enough to do so. That was not a weakness, it was a choice. But now, the choice is yours once more. You must decide whether her return is a gift or a test. Do not be deceived by the mind's longing for familiarity. The past, no matter how painful, often feels safer than the unknown. This is why many welcome back those who have harmed them, mistaking comfort for love and repetition for fate. But a wound that has healed must not be reopened simply because the one who inflicted it wishes to return. You are not the same as you were before. Pain has taught you, if you were willing to listen. It has shown you who she is, but more importantly, it has shown you who you are. Will you now forget what you have learned? She may return with words of regret, with promises of change, with reminders of what once was. But remember, words are easy, and memories are shadows of the past. What matters is not what she says, but what you know to be true. Did she value you when she had you? Did she leave out of necessity or out of carelessness? These are the questions that must guide you, not the simple fact that she has returned. A man who allows his emotions to be dictated by another is a man who is easily controlled. You must see clearly. Her return does not elevate her, nor does it diminish you. It is merely an event, like the wind shifting direction. And just as the wind cannot move the mountain, neither should her presence move you unless you allow it. The storm does not ask for permission to return, nor does it concern itself with the destruction it left behind. It comes and goes as it pleases, without thought or regard for those in its path. So too does she return after hurting you. But it is not the storm itself that matters, it is how you stand against it. A man cannot control the winds, nor can he dictate the actions of another. But what he can control is his own strength, his own foundation, his own ability to remain unmoved. She may return with apologies, explanations, or silence heavy with expectation. She may act as though nothing happened, or as though the past is merely a forgotten chapter, easily erased. But the storm that once shook you must not be given the same power again. You have felt the pain of her absence, the sting of her betrayal, or the weight of her indifference. You have endured, survived, and perhaps even thrived without her. So now, as she stands before you again, what will you do? Will you crumble at her return, or will you stand as the man you have become? To welcome her back without wisdom is to stand in the open field, unguarded, hoping the storm will be kind this time. But storms do not change for the sake of those they have hurt. They return when conditions allow, when they see no walls strong enough to keep them out. The question is not whether she has changed. The question is whether you have. If her return finds you just as vulnerable as before, just as willing to believe words without actions, then the storm will rage again, and the destruction will be greater than before. Do not mistake her return for fate, nor for an opportunity you must seize. The sea does not chase the wave when it retreats, nor does the mountain weep when the clouds move on. What has left may return, but return does not mean belonging. The winds will blow as they always have, but a man who has fortified himself will not be swayed. If she returns, let it be as it may, but let not your peace be disturbed, nor your strength forgotten. The storm is nothing to the man who has made himself unshakable. Emotion is a powerful force, but it is also a deceptive one. It clouds the mind, distorts reality, and makes a man see what he wishes to see rather than what is truly before him. When she returns after hurting you, your heart will speak loudly, reminding you of every beautiful moment, every tender word, and every promise once made. It will whisper that perhaps this time will be different, that perhaps she has changed, that perhaps love is worth the risk. But emotion is not a wise judge. It is a reckless guide, one that leads men into traps of their own making. You must step back from the pull of sentiment and see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. If she has returned, do not ask yourself how you feel about it. Ask yourself whether her return aligns with reason. Has she shown through action that she is different from the one who left you wounded? Has she proven, not with words but with time, that she understands the weight of her past choices? Or is her return merely a moment of convenience, a seeking of comfort rather than true change? These are the questions that must guide you, for they are rooted in truth, not in the illusions that emotion creates. A man who allows his heart to rule his decisions is a man easily led astray. He will mistake longing for destiny and familiarity for love. He will choose what feels good in the moment rather than what strengthens him in the long run. And in doing so, he will make himself vulnerable to the same pain again and again. You have already suffered once. Will you now invite suffering again simply because the face of it is familiar? There is nothing wrong with love, nor with forgiveness, but neither should be given blindly. The one who hurt you has revealed her nature before. That does not mean she cannot change, but it does mean that change must be proven, not assumed. If you allow emotion to decide, you will grasp at shadows, hoping they are real. But if you allow reason to lead, you will stand firm, making decisions that serve you rather than weaken you. She has returned, but that alone is not enough. Let her presence be judged not by how it makes you feel, but by what it truly is. Only then will you act, not as a man controlled by the past, but as one who commands his own future. You are not a refuge for those who abandon you in fair weather, only to return when the storm of their own life grows unbearable. If she left you once, it was because she made a choice that did not include you. Whether it was out of selfishness, confusion, or indifference, she walked away, believing that whatever lay ahead was better without you. Now she returns, but ask yourself, is it because she truly sees your worth, or is it because she has nowhere else to go? A man must understand his own value. He is not a shelter for those who seek comfort only when it suits them. You are not a convenience, nor are you a second option to be picked up and put down at will. Too many men allow themselves to be used under the illusion of love, mistaking someone's return for redemption when it is often nothing more than a temporary need. Do not allow your dignity to be sacrificed on the altar of someone else's uncertainty. When someone leaves and then comes back, it is easy to believe that their absence has taught them something, that they have realized what they lost. But often it is not realization, it is necessity. The world did not give them what they sought, and now they look to the past, not because they cherish it, but because it is familiar. There is a difference between someone who returns because they truly understand your value and someone who returns because they fear being alone. The former is rare, the latter is common. You must stand firm in who you are. If she did not choose you when she had the chance, then her return must be met with scrutiny, not blind acceptance. A man who knows his worth does not allow himself to be reduced to an escape from loneliness or an answer to regret. He demands consistency, respect, and purpose. If she did not see that before, why should you believe she sees it now? Too many men allow themselves to be pulled back into the arms of those who left them, hoping that this time will be different. But hope without reason is a weakness. If she left once, she has shown you that leaving is within her nature. If she returns, let it not be because you made yourself small enough to be her safety net, but because she has truly become someone worthy of standing beside you. And even then, it is your choice, not hers. A man who does not master himself is a man who will always be at the mercy of others. If you allow her return to dictate your thoughts, your emotions, or your actions, then you have already surrendered control. She hurt you once, and now she stands before you again. But ask yourself, have you spent your time waiting for this moment, or have you spent it building yourself into someone who no longer needs to ask these questions? Strength is not found in how you respond to others. It is found in how little their actions can shake you. If you have spent your time healing, learning, and becoming greater than you were, then her return should not stir the same emotions it once would have. A man who has mastered himself does not react with desperation, longing, or misplaced hope. He observes, he evaluates, and he decides, all while remaining centered within his own sense of purpose. If she left, it was a lesson. If she returns, it is a test. But neither should unbalance you. Too often, men place their happiness in the hands of others, believing that love, validation, or closure must come from outside themselves. But the truth is, the only thing you will ever truly own is your own mind. The one who learns to command his emotions, rather than be ruled by them, is the one who remains free, no matter who enters or exits his life. If she has returned, it should not be met with fear or longing, but with clarity. You do not need her to complete you, nor do you need her absence to define you. You are whole, regardless. She may say she has changed, that she understands what she lost, that she wishes to rebuild what was broken, but none of that matters if you have already built yourself into something stronger in her absence. A man who has mastered himself does not chase, nor does he crumble when faced with the past. He knows that his peace is not dependent on whether someone stays or goes. He is not swayed by the shifting desires of another, because his foundation is firm. If she returns, let it not be the determining force in your life. Let it be nothing more than a ripple on the surface of a vast ocean. Acknowledged, but incapable of changing its course. Master yourself, and no return, no departure, no apology will ever hold power over you again. A mountain does not concern itself with the wind. It does not shift when the storm rages, nor does it crumble when the seasons change. It remains unmoved, untouched by the fleeting forces that pass through its presence. This is the way a man must be when she returns. Others may come and go, speaking promises or regrets, offering affection or seeking refuge. But none of this should disturb the foundation upon which you stand. If she left you once, then she has already shown that she is capable of leaving. Her return does not erase this truth. It does not undo the pain, nor does it rewrite the past. You may feel the urge to believe that her presence means something significant, that it is a sign, that it carries meaning beyond mere circumstance. But the reality is far simpler. She is here now, just as she was gone before. The question is not about her return, but about whether you have become someone unshakable in her absence. Many men falter at this moment. They allow the emotions of the past to dictate their response. They let old wounds reopen, let old desires resurface, let themselves become entangled once more in something they have already suffered through. They forget that they have endured, that they have grown, that they have become more than they were when she left, and in that forgetfulness, they step backward, allowing themselves to be moved by a force that should no longer hold sway over them. But a man who stands as a mountain does not move for the return of another. He does not allow his peace to be disturbed, nor his strength to be tested by whims of someone who once walked away. He sees her return for what it is, an event, nothing more. He does not rush forward, nor does he retreat. He simply remains, steady in his own existence, undisturbed by what once had the power to break him. People will always come and go. Some will leave with good reason, others with none at all. Some will return, seeking something familiar, while others will seek only what they once took for granted. But none of this should define you. If you have built yourself into something strong, then no one's absence will ruin you, and no one's return will complete you. You are whole as you are, standing firm like the mountain, watching as the world moves around you, yet never moving for anything less than your own purpose. You are not defined by who stays or who leaves. You are not a refuge for the uncertain, nor a harbor for those who come and go as they please. If she returns, let it be her journey, not your burden. If she regrets, let it be her lesson, not your obligation. A man who knows his worth does not beg for love, nor does he fear its loss. He stands firm, knowing that his strength is not in another's presence, but in his own unwavering resolve. Let her return if she must, but let your peace remain untouched. Let your heart be ruled by wisdom, not longing. And if she has changed, let her prove it, not with words, but with actions, not with promises, but with time. Until then, stand as the mountain does, strong, unshaken, and complete within itself.